Hello everyone, I'm back with another Reddit Addicts episode. If you find my videos entertaining, please kindly subscribe and like them. Thanks to everyone for your suggestions and kind notes. Now, let's get started with today's exciting stories.
I cheated on my husband and he found out. Can we still work it out? I, 27F, have been with my husband, 29M, on and off since high school, since I was 14 and he was 16. We got married and have kids together. Things had been rough between us for a very long time. The relationship started out very abusive, but I brushed it off because we were young and I believed we could grow out of it. We did after a while. But about 1 year after getting married, 4 years ago or so, I started to reach out to people online because I started to feel so alone and the pressure of everything started to get to me, not an excuse, just what happened. I met a man online and we started talking. At first he was just giving me advice on how to make my marriage better, but then as time went on, things became more intimate and we began sexting and video calling. We never met in person, but talked a lot, almost every day. My husband found out one day and everything went to hell. I stopped talking to the other man and knew what I did was wrong. I spent the next 4 months doing everything I could to try and make up for it in any way I could think of. Things became very ugly between us. He became abusive again. Worse than ever before. Like borderline torture sometimes. I put up with it and accepted it as my punishment for betraying and hurting him as badly as I did, but after 4 months of it, it became harder and harder to keep just putting up with it. One morning a few months ago, he woke me up very abruptly. He asked me into the living room and pointed at the computer. He found a picture of the man I was texting before. At this point, I had no more strength in me to keep putting up with everything. I told him that I wasn't going to do this again, talk about the other man, because there was nothing more to say. I told him everything and he saw everything. He was very angry and I said, if you want to leave me, then just leave. I'm not going to do this for the rest of my life. I turned to walk away and get ready for work and he jumped me. Literally jumped me. Beat the hell out of me. Broke my finger and kicked me in the head with his steel-toed boot. Twice. Then took my phone, the internet box and the car and left me there bloody and broken. The kids did not see anything, thankfully. I had to go out and ask someone to borrow their phone to call 911. It was humiliating. I ended up in the hospital and he was eventually arrested. I was informed that he had attempted suicide. I was so heartbroken. I still love him. So I decided I would just show love to him and show him that even with this happening, I knew it was my fault. And I wanted to make it right. So the past few months have been up and down, good and bad. I have been working hard to try and get his charges from the state dropped or reduced at the very least. Been trying to be as sweet to him as I could possibly be. The issue now is, he still brings up the cheating. And when he does, it usually leads to a fight and sometimes he's put his hands on me, and other times just yell. The physical abuse has died down a lot. I know it is something he will probably hurt over for the rest of his life, but I will too. I have regained less than half my mobility in my finger and that will most likely be all the mobility I get back for the rest of my life. I will never be able to play guitar the way I used to. The cold is agonizing at the break. My finger bends slightly crooked now. My hand is ugly to me. Time won't change it. And as for my head, I struggle with memory now. I have slight speech flubs. Writing this post alone has taken me almost all 3 hours because I can't remember what I wrote. I have to keep going back to reread it in order to continue. I don't bring up my injuries. I don't want to throw it at him like that because despite what he did, I know what the reason was. Understand that I am not excusing the abuse. I know it's wrong. I just understood why, but I can't seem to get that in return for what I did. I want to fix this. I want to be happy with him and our kids. But I'm beginning to lose hope. Is it even possible? Is it selfish of me to want to call us even and just move forward? Is it wrong to want to start with a clean slate for both of us? Thank you for letting me rant. I don't expect much in return. But I guess it does feel a little good to get it off my chest. Have a good day, everyone. Sorry for all of this. Edit, I'm sorry if I do not reply to everything. In a lot of cases, I just don't know what to say. I understand where all of you are coming from, and it honestly does help to feel some kind of support. I'm not trying to excuse everything that my husband has done. Not at all. I'm only stating I understand the reason. I am not a stupid person. Just overly hopeful, I guess. I have a professional office job in the legal department. This whole thing just became a mess. I understand that divorce is very much a possibility. I only want to do absolutely everything I can before reaching that point. Edit 2, thank you all for the responses. I truly appreciate it all. I have been thinking about everything said and seeing what I can do on my end of things. I am seeking professional help for all of us. Whether my husband and I stay together, I understand that this needs to be made a priority for all of our sakes. Thank you all again. TLTR, I cheated on my husband. He found out, became very abusive, and eventually put me in the hospital. I want to call it even and move forward, but he still won't let go of the cheating. Can we move forward? Next story. Am I the idiot for kicking my husband out of the delivery room after he started crying? My husband Kevin, M31, and I, F27, welcomed our first baby a week ago. Kevin is the type of person that gets stressed out easily and react to events negatively. We've had conversations about his ability to handle being the delivery room. I said if he couldn't be there it was fine, seeing how he reacts under pressure and can have mom there instead. He said he could 100% handle anything and promised to be supportive and positive. I went into labor alone. He met me at the hospital, and when he entered the D room he looked so stressed out and overwhelmed already. He started moving around periodically, completely ignoring me. He got more visibly stressed when my pain got intense. He took my hand when I started having contractions and kept clutching it, almost stopping blood circulation. My entire arm went numb. I felt strained, and although I was in intense pain I saw his face. It was so red, and there was a visible vein in his forehead that looked like it was about to blow up. It was not helpful at all. In fact, it was frustrating and affected my emotions negatively. But still, I was willing to suck it up. Then suddenly he started crying, like literally, sobbing really loud. This sent me into full panic mood. I found myself screaming, telling him to stop several times, and as a result he literally yelled back in my ear. The nurse got involved. I told her to get him out of there. He tried to argue with me but wasn't given a chance and was pressured to leave the room. I didn't see him afterwards, after our daughter was born. And while I was resting he didn't show up. His mom kept calling to see where he was. She stayed with me and I haven't seen him till the day I was discharged. We had a big fight at home. He kept lashing out when I said how bad it was for him to ghost me when I needed him. He said I shouldn't expect him to stick around after cruelly and selfishly kicked him out the room and robbed him an opportunity to see our daughter's first breaths. I explained he was causing me to panic with how he was crying, but he accused me of making up excuses and I was purely at fault for kicking him out and getting the staff to gang up on him no matter how hard I try to spin it. He said as a dad he should have liberty to be in the room no matter how he behaves and whether I like it or not. I got tired of arguing. I told him to stop and he said he will but will never forget what I've cost him that day, then walked out. I was so mad and took time to cool off. Then when I unpacked my bag, I found a small box that contained a necklace with our daughter's name. I felt awful knowing Kevin left it for me to wear at the hospital, but the argument happened and he spent the entire time in the car in the hospital's parking lot. Comment 1.
Yeah.
The fact that this wasn't a moment of panic thing but something he has rationalized and doubled down on for days has honestly just terrifying implications for how he's going to parent. A man who will make someone in labor bear the undue burden of managing his mental illness will do the same for a small child. He will lash out, stress the kid out for reasons she can't possibly understand, and then refuse to apologize. She will grow up with the message that daddy's cruel, volatile behavior is her fault for not carefully controlling herself, bottling up her own emotions, refusing to express her own needs. OP, do you have any idea how badly that can fuck a kid up, especially a girl? I don't want to catastrophize, because I don't know your husband or whether he is willing to entertain psychiatric intervention when push comes to shove. But this issue is a poison pill for your family and you need to acknowledge that. Comment 2. Same. We had to walk on eggshells with my stepdad. We got blamed for making him so angry he couldn't control himself, but there was no telling what would set him off, so we were always afraid. Later I asked adults in my life why they never stopped the abuse and they said, he never hit you, but you don't need to hit to destroy someone's mental health. Emotional abuse is abuse. I grew up with extreme anxiety and still suffer from panic disorder where I have panic attacks with no obvious triggers. I spent years in therapy to end up able to function normally in society instead of constantly thinking my behavior is responsible for the reactions of every single person around me. OP, please make your husband get therapy or leave him. Don't do this to your kid.
We hope you enjoyed this story. Thanks for watching and hope to see you in the next video. And before you go, please be sure to subscribe for more.